Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, welcome to IBoxingHub with myself, RiKO Boxing. I have something very special for you guys, which we've been, with myself, and I'm sure that you know Michael Benson. Nah, old news. This is BoxingKindom. Okay, now anybody who's ever known anything about boxing, who's ever seen what this man is actually doing, which is incredible, will know who he is. BoxingKindom, in Twitter, or well, we now know he as X, is absolutely mashing up the airways. This is my very, very good friend right now. BoxingKindom, how are you doing, sir?
Good, mate. All good here.
And that's what we love. Obviously, an Australian. Well, nobody actually knows who the hell you are except for me. But this is obviously this will be one of my best interviews, if not the best interview that I've ever done. So I just want to thank you so much, BoxingKindom, for giving me your time. Again. We're obviously not going to go into too much of you or this or anything like that. All I will say is, guys, please watch, subscribe to BoxingKindom, which I've shown you in all of my streams and lives and everything like that. So, yeah, I'm very honored to be with you, sir. The new voice of the new boxing media. I just got a couple of questions for you, my guy. Is that cool?
Yeah, let's go, mate.
Thank you very much. And they're quite serious. Not many people know me for the seriousness. However, I have to ask you this because this is the first of many. In your opinion, okay, what is the state of the promoter wars in the UK at the moment? I live in the UK, but the thing is, you seem privy to a lot of information, my guy.
Yeah, so Frank Warren is absolutely dominating at the moment. But the special thing about Frank is, like the saying with the promoters is, a promoter's only as good as his TV deal. That's not actually true with Frank. Frank has the best scouts and networking in the game, in boxing itself. So what Frank does, I think he used to attend amateur shows. He's got the best scouts out there, and he signs the juniors and youths when they're coming through. Like, he's already got the next generation all sorted, already. But that's just allowed Frank to, just dominate, and he's just had an absolute massive 4 years, and he just looks set to kind of continue that. But he's taken up the entire UK market share at the moment. Frank's the preferred supplier for the Saudi shows. He's obviously got the big contract in the UK as well. He's got the entire heavyweight division practically. He's just had a magnificent 4 years, and he's just the lead promoter. He's probably the lead promoter globally at the moment, Frank Warren. As crazy as it sounds. So he's absolutely dominated that market. Then you've got Eddie and Ben Shalom. What Eddie's doing on a global scale is he's just waiting out Frank and Bob Arum. Like, Bob Arum's 95 or 93. Frank's
100.
Frank might have 5 years left to promote him before he hands it down to George and is Francis. So Eddie's playing patient. The thing that Eddie doesn't like is Ben Shalom is his age, because Ben's age alone means he's going to be competing with Eddie for the next couple of decades. That's why Eddie's quite upset. So essentially, Frank's dominating the market, Eddie's playing patient, and Matchroom financially have just had their best year, so they're in a good position. One thing Eddie's struggled to do, he's got Pacheco in the US now. He's got a few other stars there. He hasn't been able to do what Frank does and get the talent really early, or identify the best talent to sign early. And that's something Eddie's going to have to do to improve in the future. But if you're looking at it from the market perspective, the UK is Frank's market. Frank's obviously the preferred supplier in Saudi. Eddie's trying to make some, imprint in the US, which he's doing pretty well, but it's quite a complicated market there. And Ben Shalom's, he's got the Sky deal, which is valuable. So, yeah, it's just Frank's world at the moment. But if you're looking at 5 years down the track, then you're probably going to find Eddie's going to be dominating with the cash in the bank. But that's where it probably is at the moment.
Just to obviously ask you, just a question, obviously, in regards to that. I know that we have limited time with you, my brother, and I hope we get a lot longer in the future. In terms of, what Ben Shalom, because you said the age. Now, Eddie's obviously come into the game very young as well.
Eddie's 45. I think was Ben 31.
Ben is 31. I think,
Yeah.
well, Eddie's grown up into boxing. Now, a
Yeah.
lot of people have said that Eddie Hearn, he's had a silver spoon in his mouth. And one quote that I love from Eddie Hearn, and you can actually check this out, is, "Yes, I did have a silver spoon, but I turned it into gold." I love that. That's absolutely incredible. And so you're saying basically, in turn, the number one promoter in the UK is a Frank Warren. Then you have an Eddie Hearn, who are pretty much Siamese twins if you look at it from the Riyadh season perspective and from his excellency. And then you'd say, obviously, Ben Shalom in box a third.
Yeah, and Eddie's just trying to wait out the competition. But the spanner in the mix is Ben Shalom, who's going to be around for a long time. That's why Eddie's upset. But yeah,
Do you
it's
think
gonna.
sorry, BK, do you really think that he's going to be there for a long time, considering he might be making a lot of people unhappy?
That's boxing, though. That's standard.
Yep.
Everyone is unhappy in boxing. Look at Eddie and Leonard Ellaby. I mean, they're friends now. They had the biggest run back and forth for 3-4 years. So yeah, Ben Shalom's going to be around for a long time. But at the moment, Frank's just dominated the market, and going back to what Frank does well, it's just identifying that young talent. So he's clearly got the best network, the smartest network, and the people that know what's going on in the gyms and tournaments, and that's why he's where he is.
That's excellent, mate. Thank you so much. Obviously, three more questions. It was supposed to be 10 minutes, but I think it might be a little bit longer than that. And the second one, obviously carrying on for the topics that we're speaking about, Riyadh season. Now, I believe I watch BoxingKindom obviously every day. I see the news and the posts that you do consistently on a daily basis. And the one thing, obviously, that you have been doing is obviously I say the promotion, um, sort of giving the thumbs up in terms of His Excellency, in terms of Riyadh season. I think that I saw a post in terms of from you that a Riyadh season is ending and then another season is going to be happening. Not too sure about that, but just in terms of what Riyadh season is for the normal consumer, will it succeed?
Oh yeah, 100%. It's one thing I noticed at the start of Riyadh season was, for one of the early fight posters, they had the sponsors of the event on one of the fight posters. They stopped from the second event onwards, they changed that. But on the first event, I think they had Aramco and a few of the other big companies. So they had like 3 companies in the top 20 companies in the world, which were actually funding the boxing, which kind of showed you where the money's really coming from. With the amount of money the Saudis have in Riyadh season, that'll just dominate the market. What they're trying to do is, the country's goal is, by 2030, they're trying to pivot from being, I think reliant on oil, to becoming like the entertainment hub of the world. So they're really transitioning their economy. But what I was getting back to and what I was saying is, with the amount of money at play, they'll just continue to dominate over the years. But that'll also present opportunity as well, because, for example, in the United States, the casinos there make a lot of money from boxing. So they're going to be quite unhappy with a lot of the fights they're leaving and taking place in Saudi, which means that some of the fights in America are probably going to get, overs in terms of paydays for fighters. So, yeah, like, just to summarize, the Saudi and Riyadh season will dominate boxing, and it'll happen. It's just a matter of time. Like, you saw Turkey today with Nayo Anui. It's only a matter of time until he gets Canelo as well. It's just the way the world's moving with it all. And I don't think the US can compete and be the home of boxing still. The way it's fragmented with the different networks, it's just it's not a clear structure. Whereas with Saudi Arabia, the way they're doing it and the funding they've got and the way it's structured, I think you'll just see more and more success over the coming few years there.
Is that why there's so much? Sorry, BK. Just this one question. Is that why there's so much drawback from sort of the Americans at first, and then obviously, to quote Game of Thrones, they sort of bend the knee in terms of Oscar, in terms of Shalom, in terms of all of this. Is it just sort of like a matter of time till everybody kind of gets into the fold in regards to the success that you're talking about?
Yeah, I think over time everyone will get used to it. America's been the home of boxing forever, for like a century. So, they're going to be quite upset to start with. But yeah, I can't really comment too much on that. That's probably more political and things like that, which is out of my realm. I just really comment on the boxing. But from what I can see, Riyadh season will dominate. And you'll see most of the major events take place there over the next few years. And just moving forward, that's where boxing is going to be. The United States will still have big fights, but I just don't see them having as many big fights. And that's just how I'd probably predict it.
No problem, my brother. Just 2 more questions for yourself. How big is Ryan Garcia versus Devin Haney, mate? I mean, for me, I think it's all roads lead to this. Just end everything, whatever's, that's just from my perspective. But what have you got to say about it?
That's interesting because the first fight only did 300,000 pay-per-view buys, which is misleading because the controversy really started after that fight. I actually think the rematch will probably do 2 million pay-per-view sales in the US. It's a monster. Like, if you think about the headlines, mainstream headlines, good or bad, a lot of them were bad, obviously. But if you think about how many mainstream headlines followed Haney versus Garcia, that momentum started actually after the fight. So a lot of people are saying the first fight did 300,000 buys. The rematch won't be that big. Well, actually, it will be because the attention and the controversy really started after the first fight. And that first fight was in the wrong location as well. That was at Barclays Center. That should have been on the West Coast.
It didn't make any sense.
Yeah, I said that at the time as well. But the controversy for that's an interesting one because Ryan Garcia versus Devin Haney 2 is a monster of a fight. And the controversy started after the first fight. So yeah, pay-per-view wise, it's going to do millions. I mean, Ryan Garcia is a massive name. If you analyze Google Trends, which, I mean, it's not the most accurate, but it shows you
Which you're like the only person that does, by the way. You're the only one that puts the Google Trends and everything. I just want to chuck that out to people.
The promotional companies have their own like analytics teams and things, so I do that as well. But if you're looking at Ryan Garcia's dropout, look, I know a lot of people dislike him as well, but the numbers that he generates are enormous. And even Devin Haney's numbers, as due to this fight, they're through the roof. So people think Devin Haney's not a draw either at the moment, but his profile's massive. And it really, both their profiles, well, Garcia's was already big, but Devin Haney's profile really took off after that fight. And, Devin Haney's probably can command $10 million a fight now moving forward. I think he was earning $5 million before this. That's long gone. Like, Devin Haney's got a big name now. And 90% of it on X is negative. But, when you're analyzing everything like that, I guess the only thing I can say is I probably predict Ryan Garcia versus Devin Haney 2 to be probably top 3 to top 5 pay-per-view sales of fights of all time. It's a monster.
So that's a big ask claim, BK. I think if anybody can actually do that, like anybody who knows me knows I'm not smart enough to do any of these things that BK does. But I mean, that'll be absolutely incredible, mate. This is what I'm trying to say. You're glitching me right now. But incredible. Well, if that actually does get to happen, I think we'll speak a little bit about it more in the next interview that I have with you. And the final one, my guy. Why will Gervonta versus Shakur?
Gervonta versus Kerr. Yeah, Tank versus Kerr. That is like the best
why would it be a
fight.
big fight?
It's massive. It's got that. There's a rivalry there already for those two. That'll probably do 1 million pay-per-view buys in the US. Well, Tank sells a lot anyway.
Easily.
But I want that fight soon because they both really don't have anyone to fight now. Like, Loma's retired or he's in like a semi-retirement, so he's not available to fight Tank. And then Shakur doesn't really have anyone to fight. He's going to fight Cordina. Like, Cordina's a good fighter, but it's more of a tune-up fight, I feel. If you know the backstory and the history between Tank and Kerr, they've sparred that many rounds over the years. They've had training camps together. Gervonta's trainer said they sparred a 20-minute round once in Baltimore. Like, these two fighters know each other's fighting styles. It's similar to Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney. Like, they had fought 6 times, I think, as amateurs. Mm-hmm. They know each other's styles before they even get in the ring. So with Gervonta and Shakur, it's not really they can Shakur can obviously hang with Gervonta because he kept getting invited back for the camps to spar, things like that. So he can obviously handle it. I'd probably prefer them to move straight into that next year and then maybe get a rematch clause towards the back end of next year. It just makes perfect sense. Like, both of them don't have anyone big to fight at the moment, and it's a massive fight. And I think it's win-win for Shakur anyway. I mean, even if he goes the distance with Tank, I mean, his profile is through the roof as well. So, yeah, given their backstory and their history, they've obviously sparred a lot of rounds together already. I'd rush them into that next, but I don't know if we'll see that. And then you've got potentially Gervonta versus Roach being cancelled. That was the news today.
I was just about to ask you about that.
And Shakur's coming back from an injury. So, I mean, if they're both fighting again early next year, it's just a long way away. If they were eventually going to fight in the future, I'd like to see that soon.
And the same thing, to be honest with you, I think having a Shakur Stevenson on Tank's resume would absolutely cement him within the pound-for-pound rankings and everything or what have you. But thank you so much, Boxing Kingdom, the Boxing Kingdom, who is destroying everything right now on Twitter, over 125,000 followers, and it's going to be way more. This man has been dedicating his life and himself to boxing the same way I have. So I just want to thank you so much for your time, my brother.
Anytime, man. Anytime. We'll do it again soon, but it's good to just get some content out there for everyone to get some different insights. But appreciate your time.
I appreciate you, bro. Just really, really quickly before we end it, and again, thank you so much. Tell the people where they can find you. Boxing Kingdom right now. This is the first of many of the business side of boxing with myself and Boxing Kingdom. Again, guys, please go follow him. He'll tell you where you can find him. BK, tell them where the people them can find him.
Boxing Kingdom 14. Follow the real one, not the parody one. Don't know who made that, but someone's created a parody one. Zero.
And we don't believe in parodies. Thank you so much. God bless everybody. Please like and subscribe. IBoxingHub right now, BanterNBoxing as well with the legendary Boxing Kingdom. This has been RiKO Boxing. Thank you, everybody. God bless you all. Take care. Have a good night or a good day or a good afternoon.